It's a great day to be in real estate. This is Duanebeisner, sales manager and sales representative for ERA Real Estate. As you can tell, the picture behind me is a nice scene with a boat back there. But I'm not on vacation. I'm still working for you. For the quote of the day from Lance Armstrong, if you ever get a second chance in life for something, you've got to go all the way. And for Duane's joke of the day, the farmer met his kin at the railroad station. "Uncle, I'm mighty glad to see you," he greeted. "That crate of chicken just sent me bust open just as I was going to take them out, and they ran all over the place. I chased them through my neighbor's yard, and I only got back 11. "You did okay," said the uncle, "because I only sent you 6. And for the business tip of the day, face-to-face selling will never go out of style. Think about that. Doesn't matter with the internet and everything else, face-to-face selling will never go out of style. And for the Darwin Award of the day, this one's called Tiny Electric Fence. This is from somebody that was in Brazil. An electrical discharge made toast of municipal guard Arthur Coelho, 47, on Sunday evening. According to police reports, he had installed a tiny electric fence around his car to protect against the frequent robberies that occurred in his neighborhood. Then, and this is direct translation from Portuguese, he forgot that he had left the fence on and he ended up dying with the electrical shock. After all, we're all dying, but some end sooner than others. And sometimes you wonder if they don't deserve it for doing things like that. For the social commentary, this is actually step 4 of the Achieving a Winning Attitude in 6 Easy Steps. This one is avoid negative media. This is a big one. I always tell my agents this as well. Our mass media culture bombards us with highly emotional messages intending to lead us to buy a particular product. In particular, overexposure to the news media can be a real killer of a positive attitude. 30 years ago, news programs primarily provided people with information intended to help them understand the issues of the day. Today, however, most news broadcasts consist of infotainment, specifically crafted to support commercial messages. Much of today's news programming consists of if it leads, or if it bleeds, it leads stories followed by commercials offering some sort of security or comfort. The idea is to amp up your fear, your anger, your frustration, then provide you with an action like buying comfort food, which promises to relieve the pressure. This constant flow of negative imagery and commentary not only can destroy a positive attitude, it can actively create a negative attitude about life and the world. Therefore, you want to maintain a positive attitude, you should consider reducing or eliminating your exposure to broadcast news programming. That means turn off the radio, turn off the TV. Instead, read the business section, or better yet, spend more time with some motivational tapes, or with some music that raises your spirits, or with great literature. Stick to media that will help your attitude to constantly improve. And now for the real estate news of the day. This was adapted from an article by Aaron Task, and Monday's weak consumer spending data is the latest in a string of reports that has many Americans worried about a double-dip recession. Then again, considering the unemployment rate has remained elevated, many Americans would be forgiven for thinking the recession that began in December 2007 still hasn't ended. Notably, that's the view of the National Bureau of Economic Research, the nation's official arbiter of economic expansion and contraction. Among the signs suggesting that the NBER is right to hold off in declaring the recession not being over is 1, the housing rollover. Last week's housing numbers were horrific, especially the steep drop in new home sales. Number 2, jobs still hard to come by. Despite signs of recent progress, quote unquote, there's no possibility to restore 8 million jobs lost in the Great Recession. And this was actually a quote from Vice President Joe Biden, who's usually very quiet. Friday's job reports are expected to show overall payrolls declined by 115,000 in June. Also, too, the hair shirts in fashion worldwide, as discussed here. This week's G20 meeting shows that policymakers believe the time for fiscal austerity is at hand. From an economic point of view, the G20 confirms that the appeal of government spending, i.e. Keynesian economics, to combat the downturn is on the wane, replaced by the view that it's better to take the pain now and cut spending. That's the Austrian economic model. And then the next one, the financial market distress. While the stock market's recent struggles grab most of the headlines, the real pain of late has been felt in the bond market. Excluding the panic levels of late 2008, the yield on the 10-year Treasury hit its lowest levels since 1962 last week. Meanwhile, the price of default insurance for Greece and other sovereign credits spiked higher, and Bloomberg reports the percentage of corporate bonds considered in distress is at its highest level in 6 months. Then there's the downside of falling rates. Of course, the market's not always right, but the bond market is signaling that policymakers like Ben Bernanke are right to be much more worried about deflation and economic slowdown versus inflation and the economy overheating. A big concern for many is that the economy is sputtering despite the Fed's historically easy policies and the government's huge spending binge. The idea that we spent all this money with little or nothing to show for it has some observers worried America's headed down the same path as Japan, remember that? Which is about to complete its second straight quote-unquote lost decade. That's 20 years. Of course, it is unrealistic to expect the economy to indefinitely continue its V-shaped rise from the depths of last year. Most recoveries are uneven, so it's premature to say what's happening lately is proof positive that the economy is rolling over. All that being said, I still say this is the best buyer's market you and I will ever see in our lifetime. If you or anybody you know is thinking about buying or selling anywhere in the world, give us a call here at ERA. We have global reach. And if you think about making a move into real estate, I'd love to talk with you. Shoot me an email or give me a call. My email is duane.beisner@era.com. This is Duane signing off. Happy trails to you. As always, proud to be an American. Thank you for watching.